Hello everyone, welcome to today's show. It's always lovely to have you join us. Now today we have, I believe, the youngest guest I have had on the show. I've interviewed her before, but that was about 3 years ago in 2022, and it was during COVID while she was in the States. So she's here for a few weeks and I was like, I've got to get a hold of this girl before she goes back so that we can have a face-to-face. So all you young people out there, I hope you're going to watch this show until the end so that you can be given hope, motivated, inspired, uplifted, and all of that. So please do watch till the end. Welcome to the show, Shani.
Thank you. I'm really humbled to be here and I'm excited to have this conversation.
Wonderful, wonderful. Please could you tell us a little bit about who Shani is so that the audience can get to know you before we go into your story?
Okay, so hi everyone. My name is Shani Matondo. I am 22 years old, turning 23 in 2 months. I'm an only child. I'm currently in my last year of university in the United States. And I'm the founder of Girls Guided by Grace. I'll talk more about that as we go. I would say I'm someone who enjoys being in front of a camera. I still get a bit nervous, but once we start talking, I'm going to get more comfortable. But yeah, I'm happy to be here and hope you guys learn something from this conversation.
Thank you.
Wonderful,
wonderful. You seem extremely comfortable in front of the camera to me. So, Shani, we really just want to hear more about what's been happening in your life, in these last 3 years. Please just carry on.
Okay. So where do I start? Okay, 2022 is when we had the first interview. I think I just finished my first year of university. So from then up to now, I lived in Paris for 5 months.
Oh, nice.
Which I really, really enjoyed. And
do you speak French?
A little, just a little bit.
All right.
So that was it was a good time for me. It wasn't like I was at a university in Paris. I was still with Oral Roberts University, taking my classes online.
Okay.
So I had a lot of free time since my classes would be later in the day because of the time difference. So I did a lot of exploring, a lot of spending time by myself, traveling. Nice. So I learned a lot about me and also got the chance to build my relationship with God, just figuring things out I think I was 20 and then turned 21 before the end of that trip. So that's one highlight. I then moved universities from Oral Roberts to Ottawa University, which I didn't really want to do, but I had no choice. And
Ottawa, is that in the States or in Canada?
There's both. So I'm in the one in the States. It's in Kansas. So I moved there end of my second year of university. And so because of financial problems, I missed half a semester before starting at Ottawa University. And I wouldn't say that wasn't really the hardest time yet. But growing up, I've had to stay at home whilst people are at school. And when I was younger, it really bothered me. I would cry and be so upset, why does this keep happening? Why does this keep happening?
You mean about you not being able to go to school? Okay.
Yeah, so as I grew and as I learned more about God and what He does and everything happening for a reason. Oh, I forgot to mention, I've written a book.
Yes, I was going to mention it if you hadn't. That is an amazing thing. Go ahead and tell us.
So in my book, I talk about how...
she was 18.
Yes,
she was 18, eh?
Yeah. So I used 5 different characters from the Bible.
Okay.
And used their stories, how we can learn from them, and then also just kind of put my story into those stories. So one of the characters I used was Joseph.
Okay.
And him being in the pit. So my main message was he couldn't have gotten to the palace without being in the pit. So I look at my education and the financial fight with education as my pit.
Wow, interesting.
So as I grew, I stopped crying about not being at school and just started asking God, okay, why are you putting me in this position? What am I supposed to learn and what am I supposed to do about being here? So through that, I have a dream to set up a foundation that then supports children in Zimbabwe to go to school, because I believe
amazing.
Everyone deserves a chance at education, but not everyone's fortunate enough to get that. So I feel like God is taking me through all of this, even through my university. It hasn't been easy. But because I've gone through it myself, I'm able to then relate and connect with others who are going through something similar and then support them as best as I can.
So if I understand you correctly, you're saying
Yes.
sometimes God will allow us, into a pit or into an unfortunate circumstance as we see it, but then we can then sort of be able to experience it firsthand so that we're able to empathize with other
Yes.
people and be able to be in a better position to help them. And that's what happened for you.
Yes.
Wow,
yes,
that's really powerful.
Yeah, so that's my dream in terms of that. So I mentioned I'm the founder of Girls Guided by Grace.
Okay.
I launched that in January 2024.
Okay.
And with that, my vision is to bring young girls together to grow personally, spiritually, and just have a sense of community and accountability in life. Because I realized once we grow up here at home and we're in a little bubble, our parents are taking us to church, our parents are saying, okay, come, let's read the Bible, let's pray. And then once you leave,
You're on
you
your
have
own.
to figure things out for yourself. And it can be very difficult to do that. And then even with everything that's happening in the world, there's so many different temptations and everyone's wanting to try this, try that. And then you lose yourself in a way.
Yeah.
So with Girls Guided by Grace, I wanted to just have, even though it's virtual, I'm just having that circle for people to stand together. If I'm going through something, I can speak to everyone and say, this is what I'm going through. And then half the time, there's someone else who's going through the same thing. So we can just stand together.
And just sort of encourage each other.
Yes, yeah. Because I had a few friends that would message me. They're like, Shani, I'm struggling with this. I don't know what to do here. Da, da, da. So Girls Guided by Grace has been amazing over the past, it's been just over 12 months now. And when I started it, I had the dream to start something for girls years ago, but I didn't want to just step into it and just do whatever I thought. I wanted God to fully lead
and guide you,
the way. So end of 2023, that's when I was spending more time with him, and then I got, the confirmation, you can start now.
Wow.
So I started it, and I wasn't expecting the growth as soon as it happened, because I now think we're sitting at 300 members
that's
now.
amazing. And you said it's virtual, so I'd like to think there are different countries.
Yes.
What
so
countries do you have represented there? Sort of.
Definitely Zimbabwe is there, there's South Africa, there's Canada, America, Germany, Poland. I think there's someone in China as well.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, I think when I counted, there's more than 10 countries that are represented.
There.
Yeah.
And does it tend to be Zimbabweans? But it can be for anybody who wants. Okay.
So mostly it's Zimbabweans who aren't in Zimbabwe anymore.
Okay, like in the diaspora. Okay.
But we have a few people that aren't Zimbabwean at all.
Okay.
We have some Kenyans, Ugandans.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so
that's nice. Very international.
it's been great. So, yeah, with that, it's been hard because, you know the saying where you can't pour from an empty cup. And sometimes I would be feeling super drained myself because everything is not okay sometimes in my personal life.
And you also need someone to be
yes.
strengthening you and encouraging you.
Yeah.
So we have got to get administrators or people who help you. Okay.
Yes. So with that, because I realized, I can't do this by myself. Yeah. So I set up a form for people who would be interested in volunteering.
That's great.
And met people. So not even half, more than half of these people, I've never met them before.
Yeah.
But I think I have a great team helping
Amazing.
me.
Wow.
So even today there's a virtual event because we have one every third Saturday of the month.
In the afternoon?
Zoom time it's in the evening.
Okay.
America it's noonish, I think. Okay. But all the planning and stuff is happening even though I'm not going to
That's
be
very
there.
smart.
So it's great.
Working smart.
So it's actually great. And then since I'm home now, I've decided to plan an in-person something happening next week Saturday.
Oh, for people who are here?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
That's nice, like a get-together.
So we're going to do a Christian music workout class, an hour.
Workout dance or
dance,
something?
Yes, it's going to be dance.
Okay.
And then
I think I saw something on the internet.
Yes,
yeah.
So I'm excited about that, just to meet people and connect, because a lot of people saying we want something in person, online is great, but like
But
we
you
want to
wanna
see.
I can see you going around the world because maybe someone in Poland, maybe if you've got enough people in another country, they might want you to
Yes.
come.
Yeah,
That might happen.
That would be
That would
great.
be
I would love
amazing,
that.
yeah.
Yeah. I would really, really love that.
So you're gonna have a dance thing, and then what do you do like after that?
We're gonna have, I think it will be roughly like 30 minutes of just snacks and like
Snacks
mingling,
and just networking and stuff.
networking. Yes,
Nice.
yes,
That's
so
really great.
I'm excited about.
And what's the age range? Is there like an age range you have in mind for this group?
So right now I've said 17 to 35.
Okay.
But I think our oldest person is maybe like 36, 37.
Okay. But they're gonna. It's maybe
Yeah,
get to 40.
So yeah, that's the range right now.
Okay. Okay. Wow, that's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
Do you have guests or what kind of topics? What kind of stuff do you do? Like,
Okay.
what is your? You can tell us about that, and when you're done, also tell us about like you. What do you have a mission statement, or do you have an anchor scripture, or what do you have like as your mission and so on? So, what do you guys talk about? Like, or
So
what do you do? What are your activities when you meet every third Saturday?
okay, so every third Saturday I usually look because we have monthly themes.
Oh, okay.
So I look for someone that I think would be able to talk about whatever our theme.
Not
is.
necessarily in the group.
No, like even outside,
Oh,
even
oh,
if
I
it's
see.
moms or
like a guest. Okay.
older people to come and speak.
Okay, that's
Um,
very good.
So yeah, this is our agendas. We have an icebreaker just to warm everyone up, and then it's the guest segment. So they have about 20 minutes to speak,
Okay.
and then we open the floor for questions, and then we have breakout room sessions because the room is
I
usually
see.
really big, so not everyone's going to get the chance to
The
speak.
chance.
So we just split people up, and then you can have more intimate conversations in the breakout rooms, and then we leave.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and then every second and fourth Thursday we have Bible studies.
Oh, wonderful.
And then with that, we have small groups. Since the excuse me, since the group is so big
yeah,
now,
300 is quite big.
we've split people into their countries. And then there's, oh my goodness, sorry.
It's okay.
We have leaders for each of those groups.
Okay.
And then they can plan more regular activities or calls to just continue building relationships with each other.
Okay.
So with those leaders, we switch. Last year I was the one leading all those Thursday Bible
It's a lot.
studies. It was a lot.
When you're
It
also
was
trying to
definitely a
study.
lot, exactly. So now we've opened to the group leaders leading the Bible studies. So we had the first one on Thursday, our first leader, that wasn't me leading. And that was started at 7 and it's like an hour.
Okay.
So I just sat into that, so that's why I didn't come
Oh,
for
yes.
prayer. Because I
Okay.
was just in the meeting,
In
just
the
watching,
meetings.
just to make sure she was
okay.
okay. So that's what we do throughout the month,
Through the
and then
month,
we have devotionals on New Version that we all do together.
Okay. Do you use the daily ones? The scripture for the day?
We use the scripture for
Okay,
the day.
that's a wonderful
yeah.
app, that one. I use that as
Yes.
well.
And
Yeah.
then we find the plans related to our theme.
Okay.
So it's usually like 15 days, not the whole month.
Okay.
And then we use those. Then we have discussions about that.
Wow, there's a
then-
lot.
Yeah, there's a lot that that happens. And then in January, I did a month challenge.
Okay.
We called it Fit for Purpose. So I designed a whole little like workbook and then sent it out to everyone. So we included fitness. Everyone had to do like
Something
20
wherever they are.
minutes of activity every day, and then we had our devotional, and then everyone had to read a book throughout the month, and then just customize it how you want, what habits you want to build for the year.
I like what you're saying because, you know, we are, as we all know, we're spirit, soul, and body. But you've touched on everything, and I'm
Yes.
sure that's how you deliberately designed it. Because you're talking about reading, which is speaking to the soul part.
Yeah.
Then you talked about Bible study, which is the spiritual side, and then you're also talking about, you know, being physically active, which talks to your body. And I know that I experienced this. Once you're at university or you're busy in your life, it's very easy. It's actually very easy not to exercise.
Yes, it is
So
very,
it's
very
nice
easy,
if
yeah.
you are put in a position where you are doing something. And then I also like the accountability.
Yeah.
But tell us about that. Are there people who are like paired up or not really? Is it just as a group?
So
Or
we had the main group doing it, and then within your small groups, you needed to be keeping each other accountable. So leaders would send, have you done your stuff for today? People say, no, yes, not yet. And then just pushing each other to continue with the tasks at hand. Yeah.
well, it's good because it's training for real life, even when people are older or they're married or whatever, because to be accountable and to be responsible. I think
Yes.
it's a great training ground. Now I wanted to ask this: have you had the guys complain that what about us?
Oh my goodness.
Or is there anything?
Yes.
I'm just wondering. Tell us
Yes.
a little about that.
I actually have, I think ever since coming back home, I've had a question about that like
Really?
3 times.
Oh my gosh,
When are
I
you going
didn't
to do
even know.
something for the guys? And I'm like, oh my gosh, right now I'm focusing on the girls. I don't know if I'll ever do something
For the
for the guys.
Maybe someone out there. you'd want
Yes, yeah. Someone should probably start. I actually got someone from Peter House, a guy,
Uh-huh.
actually messaged me and was like, they wanted to start something.
Really? I was just thinking about this. That might be
yeah.
an idea. Wow, tell us about that.
So I got a DM on Instagram. Hey, Shani. My friend and I are like trying to start something for the guys. We wanted to find out how you've done it, like what tips
wow.
you have for us, and how do you encourage people to be involved and everything. So I shared. I'm not sure if they've started it yet, but I did share my tips.
He's still at school, or he used to be at school with them?
He used to be
Okay.
at Peter House together.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
But yeah, he should be starting something with his friends soon. And then when I actually, before even launching Girls Guided by Grace on Instagram, I just created the page. There's no post, anything.
So it's on Instagram?
Yes, it's on Instagram, on YouTube, and TikTok. Yes.
Okay, so we'll put that at the end to make sure those who are interested in that age range can get a hold of her.
Yes, that would
Okay.
be great. And then I was just on the page, just sorting things out.
Uh-huh.
And then I saw Boys Guided by Grace started following you. I was
Boys
like,
Guided by
"What?"
Grace? Okay.
I was like,
okay,
oh.
we're going to come up with BBB. You've
Yeah.
got GGG, but I guess the Grace element.
So I was like, oh, we haven't even launched yet. Who's this? And they had like copied the logo and everything. I was like, what? Yeah. So I DM'd.
Really?
I was like, hi, who's this? And like,
Did they respond?
yes, they're like, oh, we just thought it would be a great idea. We liked what you're doing. So I was like, I haven't even posted anything about what I'm
you
doing.
hadn't? You mean this is right at the beginning?
Right at the beginning.
So how
before
did
I'd
they-
even launched.
And you put like your statement, your mission statement, what you do, your values, or did they
I
see
don't
something
think-
that they wanted to copy, or just they said
was
whatever it is,
just-
we're gonna go with it?
I think it's just the logo, and we had something in our bio. I don't think I'd even
Okay,
posted.
so the bio maybe told
Yeah.
them what it was about.
I think so.
So then what
And
happened?
then they were like, we just thought it would be a great idea to
Okay.
like partner and whatever. Then I was like, okay, because I haven't even started this yet, like I haven't launched it yet or anything.
Yeah.
I'd prefer if we like talked about it at a later stage. And then from there, they didn't say anything.
Where are
and
they
then
at now?
the page is gone, so I'm not even sure.
You
where
know,
they are. I don't even know who it was. They didn't like
it's-
share.
Yes, but that name though is kind of nice. So I don't know the new group that's starting what they're going to be called. This would
Yeah,
have been
I'll
quite
actually
nice,
ask, yeah,
but it's
I'll
been
ask
taken
what-
now. They'll have to
I'll ask
think
them what
about
they're
something.
going to call themselves.
I'm
Yeah.
sure they can come up with something, but I guess you wanted the name Grace to be there. Kind of, that's the whole point.
Yes.
That
yes,
it's
yes,
not
yes.
all about us. It's really about, the grace of God.
Yeah.
That's actually a funny story.
Yeah, it was just interesting. It
So-
took me by surprise because I was like, I haven't even like
You haven't even
shared.
started, but
yeah,
they don't. Yeah, at least if you had started, I would understand that. Okay, they like kind of what you're writing, what you're posting,
Yes.
what you're about, and they want to do something that's similar. But you don't even know some random person. You don't know where, which
I
country
don't know
they're from
what
or anything.
country. I don't know who. I had no idea where they were coming
Where
from.
coming
so,
from.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's very interesting. But I guess a lot of people want to start things, but it's hard to carry on with something.
Yes,
And so
yes,
you're doing
yes,
well
yes.
done. You're doing very well because this is a
Thank
year
you.
later.
Yes, this
Because
is
a lot of
year
people want to
later.
start stuff. They start, then they stop.
Yes.
And I find that happens a lot. Even people who are much older than you, out there. But so well done for studying that. What are your plans for the future? Do you have anything else planned for this group? Like,
So with this actually ties into the foundation for then supporting
it's a separate.
education.
It's a separate group, hey?
Kind of. So I'm hoping to like kind of kill two birds with one stone.
Okay.
So whilst I'm serving girls,
Okay.
I'm hoping to register it as the NGO and then have like different membership levels that people can sign up for and then have opportunities for them so that they're benefiting. They're not just paying just for like nothing. Maybe like more events, merchandise,
Okay.
more talks, because I'm wanting to do like a podcast or something with Girls Guided by Grace, and then the few dollars that people are paying for their membership and tickets that they're buying for events,
Okay.
paying for the merchandise, those funds will be going to keeping Girls Guided by Grace running, but then
yeah.
the majority of the profits would be going to supporting children's
Yeah.
education. So that's kind of the vision at the moment. But I just hope, like you're saying, traveling to other countries and
Yeah, to have little
having
get-togethers.
things- yes,
It'll
that would
be
be
which
great.
which country would you say is represented the most?
Um,
In terms of, not in terms of Zimbabweans, but in terms
Mhm.
of where Zimbabweans are. Is there any stats
Wow.
on that? Like,
I
it's
think I do
there's
have-
half in Australia or England or UK.
Australia-
You know, the usual countries.
the UK actually has quite a few.
Really?
Yes. But I would say number one is South Africa.
Oh, really?
Yes. Number one is South Africa. Then I think Zimbabwe is number two.
Yeah.
Then the UK.
So it means South Africa. Here we come.
Here we come. Yes.
Yeah. So
yes,
you obviously go where they, but they'll end up being probably a lot all over.
Mhm.
I would think.
Yeah.
That's
I'm excited
interesting.
to see.
I have a
how it
feeling. What
goes.
if you might get people now who don't speak English?
Yes.
There's going to be that twist.
Because
So that'll be interesting.
Yeah, there was someone from the Philippines.
Oh, really?
And yeah, so I'm just thinking language-wise, how I'll then do that. Maybe there'll be
Mm.
girls that will help people
Yeah.
in the group that
There might
speak
be a way to
multiple
do it, or
languages.
translate, or
Mhm,
something like
mhm,
that.
mhm. Yeah, so I'm excited to see where it goes.
Yeah, it's very exciting, and the foundation as well. I'm sure there are a lot of people out there who would benefit from that. And you
Yes.
can also do fundraising
Exactly.
events and even approach corporates or whatever. There's so much you can do
Mhm.
in terms of raising funds.
Yes.
It'll be very interesting.
Yeah.
So, are there any other things you want to tell us about that's been happening in the last 3 years, or your travels, or anything? What did you went to
yeah.
Paris?
Yes.
How was that?
Paris
what did you do
was
there?
great. So I'd been to Paris before when I was, I think,
Oh, really?
14, because Peter House did those like French tours and culture tours.
Yeah,
So I'd visited before.
it's a nice country.
It
hey?
is.
Very rich
It's
in
really,
culture.
it's really, really, really nice. But I feel like this second time, I wasn't feeling like a tourist per se. I was now like actually within.
Because you're a student.
Yes.
Yeah.
So having to speak a little French to the locals, using the metro a lot. I loved their system with the metro, because you really don't need a car.
No.
You don't need a
No,
car at
very
all.
different from yeah.
Yes, yes. Because yeah, you
You
definitely
need a car.
need a
What
car.
about in the States?
In the States, it depends where you are. I'd say they have, in the bigger cities, the public transport is great. Then in the smaller cities, like where I am,
You need a car.
Yeah, it's not so great. You definitely do need a car. And then I got the chance to visit the south of France, which I think
Marseille.
is... Yes,
No? Yeah,
yes.
nice.
I think it's way better than Paris. I would
It's
say
very
everyone
touristy,
should.
isn't it?
It's touristy, but also like relaxed. If you love the water, I would say that's a place to visit
go, the
over
seaside.
Paris. Like, yeah, you can go to Paris, but visit the south of France. And then we used Nice as our hub. So
Okay.
we stayed in Nice, and then everything is like a
It's
train
like
ride
a-
away. We even got to go to Monaco, which was like 30 minutes on the
Oh,
train.
how's Monaco?
Busy, 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 busy. But
It looks
yeah,
like a beautiful
it's
place.
a beautiful place, and so much money. The cars were great. So if you're into
It's
cars,
a kingdom, hey? I know it's got a king and queen, I think. Yeah.
So if you visit there and you like cars, I think that would be that would be a
All
great
those,
place.
Those fast cars.
Yes, all of them were there, and we visited whilst they were setting up for F1. So we
Oh,
saw like
nice.
them building
Oh, nice,
everything,
nice,
and yeah,
nice.
it was
That must have been
great.
exciting.
It was amazing. And then even Italy, we went to Ventimiglia.
Oh, you went to Italy. How was
Yes,
that?
Italy was nice. I think I definitely have to go back and actually stay and visit more cities. So Ventimiglia was 45 minutes on the train from Nice.
Okay.
Um,
And of course, with your Schengen visa, no visa.
no visa
travel
issues,
restrictions.
No.
Okay.
So we could go wherever. And then I visited Spain twice, I believe. The first time I did Madrid and Valencia, and then the second time went to Malaga. And out of the three, I would say Malaga was my favorite. I think again because of the water and just being by the beach, and because I was with my friends for my birthday, so it was a great time as well. So I would definitely, that's another thing. My mom's always told me travel is like the best.
I was going to ask you about that, and what you think the benefit of traveling widely is, but the same.
I think it definitely opens your mind up, because if you're just stuck in one spot, you limit yourself and you think that this is all that's there for you. So if you travel, you get to see the other things that you can achieve. You can see what other people are doing.
It opens up your mind.
Yes, it definitely opens up your mind, and even just being around other people also opens your mind. You learn a lot, because I believe everyone has something to teach.
Yes, absolutely.
So traveling is great. I would suggest wherever you can go. It doesn't have to be to the fanciest places, but just step out of your comfort zone, step away from home for a little bit, and see what's out there. Because I feel like I'm someone who dreams big, and I'm always saying, despite your background, where you've come from, who you think you are, whatever you want to achieve in life, you have what it takes to go after that. And you can't do that alone. So have good relationships with your family, friends, and even strangers that you meet out there. Don't just turn away from
Don't
people.
be a loner.
Yes, literally, don't be a loner. And if you see someone is beneath you, don't turn away from them, because you can still learn something from someone. Whether they're younger or they're in a worse situation from you, you can still learn something. So that's really helped me, just being open to talking to anyone. And everyone. Because God uses people. He blesses us through people. So if you're going to be turning people away, you never know who God is going to use.
Exactly.
So,
or how you can be used by God for that person.
Exactly. So just be open. I'm not saying like give everyone your full trust at the beginning.
And like discerning. Be discerning.
Yes, you need to be discerning 110%. So just, and bring God into it. Always pray. Like, even if I'm just walking off, I'm driving. One thing about me, if I'm driving, I like to drive long distances. In America, everything's so like spread out.
The roads
are
nice.
So usually like my drives are like 30, 45 minutes, and it's always just worship, or I'm praying, I'm talking to God about anything and everything. So the smallest thing, just bring it to him, and you'll see him work in wonderful ways. And in the Bible study on Thursday, we were actually talking about how God knows everything. He knows what we want, what we need, but it's still important to open your mouth and make your desires known to him. And when you get your answers, it might not be what you're thinking. So don't turn it away just because you thought, he's supposed to answer in this way, and that's not how he answered. Again, be discerning. Like, ask God for the wisdom to understand why he's doing certain things the way he's doing them. It makes me think of last year. Again, I had to miss half a semester of uni because of financial problems again. And I had made a prayer because I moved from Oral Roberts. So Tulsa's where we were in Oral Roberts.
Which state is that?
That's in Oklahoma.
Oklahoma. Okay.
Yes. And then my new university is in Kansas, in Ottawa, and it's an even smaller state. Okay. So I kept praying, God, I want to be back in Tulsa. I want to be back in Tulsa. And then he answered that prayer, but me missing half the semester. So at first I was like, okay, why am I missing school again? But then I remembered, okay, I asked him to be back in Tulsa. And he's given me that. And obviously,
you went back?
Yes, I was there for, I think it was about 3-4 months.
Oh, nice.
And so I was able to be with my friends again, and that's where my main American church is. Okay. So I was happy to be back, and I was feeling okay. And at first again, I was crying, oh my gosh, why? I'm out of school again and everything. But then I think it's Proverbs 19 verse 21, which talks about how we may have plans, but God's will is the one that prevails. So even through that, I was able to get some work experience and make some money to then put towards school. And if I was in Ottawa, I wouldn't have been able to do that. and then also just being at church again and being around friends and family during the hard time was good. And then because I was out of status, because if you're not enrolled in school for more than 5 months, your visa then gets terminated or whatever.
Really?
So I wasn't out of school for more than 5 months. I was just, I think it was three months. But because I wasn't in school for those 3 months, I had to leave the country and then come back into the country.
Oh.
Yeah. So
When was that?
this was now around October.
Last year?
Yes.
Okay.
This was around October, and my passport was expiring literally in November.
Oh my gosh.
So usually if you're traveling to a new country, they need at least like 6 months
at least
in your
6
passport.
months, yeah.
So I was like, I don't have that, but I have to leave the country. So luckily, usually you have to go to Washington, D.C. to apply for a new passport at the embassy and everything. But they were having a pop-up in Dallas, which is closer to Tulsa, where I was. So I drove the 4 hours to Dallas.
4 hours, wow.
Did the passport application, paid everything, and then my passport had to get shipped here. My dad did the fast.
To be shipped here?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So my old passport, and then the application came here, and then they did the new one. Then my dad sent it back, and I had until the 4th of November to have left and come back.
Those are tight deadlines.
Yes, it was so on the, it was hard. But then my passport came, this is now the last week of October. And so now I'm trying to get tickets, but also again, money is like tight. And the easiest country to go to is then going to be the Bahamas.
Okay, which is not far. Hey?
Yes, it wasn't far. So my passport arrived on Tuesday evening, I believe, and then I was going to ask my aunt to then ship it to Oklahoma, so that I can then leave from Oklahoma to then go to the Bahamas.
That's a lot of logistics.
And then I was like, but like it was probably going to take like 2 days for my passport to get, and then that's cutting my time even shorter. So on Tuesday, I literally called my aunt. I was like, please, can I come home tonight? So I booked a flight. I went to Washington, D.C. that evening. Then Wednesday morning, I picked up my passport and then had to book the flight to the Bahamas on Thursday morning.
Okay.
So then Thursday, I left for the Bahamas, and I was stressed because the school was also just telling me, like, they were just putting pressure. Usually schools are supposed to like help you and find all these solutions, but they weren't really giving any of that help. And they told me it's not 100% once you leave that they'll allow you to come back in.
Oh.
Yeah. So now I'm like, oh my goodness, what if I'm not allowed back into the country? And I was stressed about that. But I just went. I was allowing God to lead the way, and I got to the Bahamas, and my mom had an old friend who now lives there. So I was able to go and stay at her house. And I genuinely felt at peace.
Okay.
And this brings me back again to relationships.
That's in Bahamas?
Yes.
Okay, right.
So she was there. We spent a lot of time praying together, and then I went to the beach alone. And again, I love to journal, so I was just sitting there journaling, speaking to God, and just He gave me the verse about the peace that surpasses all understanding. I really felt like I was living in that, because a lot of people would be like, "Oh my gosh, how are you handling all of this stress? Like how you, with all these things that are happening?" But I really felt God's hand was in everything. So that's what was giving me.
That's powerful.
My peace. And then, so I was there just Thursday to Saturday. And at the Bahamas airport, they have the U.S. Customs whilst you're still in the Bahamas. Instead of flying and then having to do immigration stuff once you get to America. So I even remember, even when I was planning my ticket back, I was like, okay, which state has the friendliest immigration?
Because some you just don't go there.
Yes, exactly. So I then found out at the airport that immigration happens on this side. So I'm very nervous, anxious about what questions they're going to ask me. And then I get to the till, and he's so friendly, laughing to me about his boss, and we do everything. Stamps, have a great flight. And I was like, oh my gosh, thank you. This was so, I didn't have to be that stressed.
God went before you.
Yes, he definitely did. So yeah, then I got back into America without any problems, and now I am preparing to graduate at the end of this year.
Oh,
so.
congratulations in
Yes,
advance.
thank you.
Wow.
So I'm super, super excited about that.
Wow, wow. So suffice to say, I don't even have to say, but obviously we're now winding off, but you've obviously seen God's hand
Yes,
in your life. There's the
yes,
group
I
you
have.
form, but then also just you, your
In my
personal life.
Yeah,
You've seen firsthand what God
can do.
can do, and I mean, out there, it's not easy, you know. When you start university and you're kind of not really on your own. I mean, of course, you've got family and friends, but there comes a time where you have to depend on God.
Yes,
And I can
is
see that in your
so
life.
true. Yeah, yeah.
Wow, wow.
Yes, it actually reminds me of. So even at the beginning, like before, during a break, but the gap between finishing high school and now planning for university, when I was doing all of my applications, I had no idea where any of the money was going to come from, where I'm going to go. I was set on the Netherlands. That's where I thought I was going to go.
Yeah.
And then my friend was like, just apply to Oral Roberts University and maybe we could go to university together. And my mom was even telling me, Shani, I don't know how I'd even afford that. But I did the application just for fun. And
I like this, just for fun.
And at first, they literally said I didn't make it. So I was like, that's okay.
Did they?
Yeah. So I was like, okay, that's fine. I'm still set on going to
closed that door, so
the Netherlands. Yeah. And then one night, I wake up in the morning and I have an email. Dear Shani Matondo, you've been given the scholarship, da da da. And I'm like, wait, but you guys said
how did I get a scholarship?
Yeah, exactly. So I was like, oh, okay. So I sent that to my mom because I wasn't at home. And then she's like, okay, that's confusing, but let's see what they say. And then after the scholarship email, then I get an acceptance letter. So I was like, okay.
This is real.
This is real. It's happening. So now I start like the whole visa applications and everything. And then got my visa. I was supposed to start classes on the 1st of August, but I only got an appointment for the 4th of August. So they said, it's fine, you can start classes online and then just come when your visa and stuff is done. And even with the visa interview and everything, that's also nerve-wracking. But I went in for that and everything. It was just God was moving really fast and everything was just happening. So I was like, okay, he's opened this door. This is great. So I even got there and we hadn't paid anything. So my scholarship went in, which covered a bit. And then God opened another door for more money. And then my first semester was fine. Now second semester, again, we're like, okay, we don't know where the money is going to come from. So my mom and I had been supporting this one young boy here, and his school fees is only like $50. And we hadn't paid that $50 in a while. So we paid it, and then I applied for a grant. And the same grant that I applied for my first semester. First semester I got $1,500. And then we paid this $50 for the boy. And then that second semester I got $15,000.
Wow.
So I was just like, okay, wow. So God will use you to bless someone so that he can then bless you. So that was another encouraging step for me. But yeah, I've just seen God everywhere.
Did you ever get to find out what the confusion was about? You didn't get in.
No.
And then you got in.
I didn't find out what any of that was about and how it worked out. But
well, we thank God. We thank God.
Yes, so it was great. And America wasn't somewhere I'd even thought about going. And now I feel like I've learned so much. I've grown in so many different ways. I've met amazing people through being there. So yeah, God definitely knows what he's doing in all of our lives.
He does.
And he sends us to places that we don't think we need to be, but he knows why we need to be there. So
it reminds me so much of Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans I have for you. Plans to prosper you, not to harm you. Plans to give you a hope in the future. So wow, amazing. That's what God has done for you.
Yes.
So Shani, do you have, any parting words about anything at all? Because I feel there's so much there, so much about helping other people, about relationships, about travel, about trusting God, about faith, all loaded in your story. But what do you have to say as we part ways? Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to try to keep this as short as possible. But my closing words would be, number one, to put God first in everything. And don't just say you trust him, actually trust him. and where you say, okay, you surrender everything to God, surrender to Him. Don't then say, okay, God, I'm giving you this, but then you're also still running around and trying to make things work, because you probably will delay your progress if you're trying to do things on your own. And I would just say this is an encouragement to the younger people as well. Despite what you've done in the past, where you've been, you might not have had access to the best growing up, but that doesn't mean you don't have to strive to then create that for yourself. What you see on Instagram, other people's lives, don't compare yourself to what other people are showing on Instagram, because I was talking to a friend about this the other day. Everyone just posts the good side of their lives. And we don't know what's happening behind the scenes. And even with like the Bahamas trips, everyone was like, oh my gosh,
she's in Bahamas.
She's in the Bahamas. They don't know the backstory. So even when I posted, I did like a long caption, and I was just sharing that you don't know what's happening in the back, so don't just be saying, oh my gosh, this is goals. I wish I lived Shani's life. I promise you, maybe you don't.
You don't if you know
you
the
don't
whole story.
If you knew the whole story, you might not actually want to live Shani's life. So
Great lesson there.
don't compare yourself to other people based off of what you're seeing online. Live your life, be you, because God created you to be you. There's only one of you in the world. Everyone else is taken. So just be the best version of yourself, and the people that need to love you will love you. Having haters is okay.
Actually spurs you on.
Yes, it's definitely okay. And God will continue to lead you, guide you, and where He sends you, He will provide. Those are my closing words.
Those are words of wisdom.
Thank
amazing,
you.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
For squeezing me in before you leave for the States.
Yes,
I appreciate that.
This was great.
It was wonderful, very refreshing. And I know a lot of young people, even older people, they're going to have something to think about and to apply in their own lives.
Yes.
So amazing. As long as you put God first, everything else will follow. Thank you so much.
True. Yes. Thank you for having me.
We're going to put those details at the end. Everything you want them to know about yourself and also about your group.
Yes.
Please do share this story with others, and remember to like and to comment. And if you want to become part of the family, you also need to subscribe and hit that notification button so you don't miss the next video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.